Yeah, Jen, stick the mic or is the mic on?
The mic is for Zoom. We are working on getting
It working in the room.
we have speakers, but they're not yet talking to the mic. So
Bring it up.
I can, but no, this is just going to Zoom. So I will try to,
Okay.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I yell?
You speak loud.
Okay, so I really want to thank everybody so much for coming tonight. And for your interest in, this subject. It's not something that brings a lot of people out on a Thursday night. I'm Janet Anderson. Tony Calvas, our town supervisor, wanted to be here tonight. To meet all of you, but he's at another water meeting in Oak Ridge. He expects to be here soon, so he asked me to kick this off. A bit of housekeeping for everyone. The bathrooms are out on the hallway. Please go out the way you came in. These doors to my left are for emergencies. For those of you who don't know me.
Recording in progress.
That's why I've been asked, that's my connection with the town that got me to be, standing here. But unofficially, personally, I'm all about fresh water. I know how important lakes are for connecting communities, for all of us to build our memories with our families and friends. I've been testing water on lakes around the area since 2004. And a couple of years ago, I had the chance to train the volunteers who go out and sample your water on Lake Kitchawan. So I got to see Lake Kitchawan and took an extra little tour around. So I'm really a little bit connected to your lake, but not too tight. In all of that, I've learned that phosphorus is really the bad guy as far as lakes are concerned. And that reducing phosphorus is really a key to improving the quality of our water and reducing the amount of algae and the amount of weeds that end up in our lakes. Back in 2000, Peter Parsons, who was the supervisor then, asked me to help obtain grants to identify the sources of phosphorus in 3 of our town lakes. We got those grants. Those studies confirmed that our septic systems are indeed a major source of phosphorus. And that has led us directly to where we are today with the help of an awful lot of people. So I want to tell you, I am just so excited that we're at this step. I made my personal commitment that I didn't want to see studies done that got put on a shelf and sat there. And so, I think it's a great thing that we are actually here today with a project. And I'm really delighted that Lake Kitchawan is leading the way. So I think this is just terrific. My personal view is that this is a great proposal for the lake. It'll make the lakes better, and it will be good for you guys for 2 reasons. One is that, the lake should be better, so you get to enjoy the lake. But the second thing is that if this goes through and you have this installed, you will never have to worry about your septic system again. You will have a phone number, but you will never have to worry about it. So it's all on the excuse me, it's all on the district. We'll have to get that done. So you'll hear more about this from profession. I am only learning about septic systems, but I'm going to introduce our speakers and some of the people that have supported us and gotten us this far. So first from Woodard and Curran, I would say they did the original report back in 2001 on Lake Kitchawan. They've authored the map plan report that has the details about this project, and they're here tonight to present the proposal. So Tia Trey will be presenting. She's PE's senior technical manager. Also, we're really delighted to have Anthony Kitchawan here. He's PE senior principal and the president of the Woodard and Curran New York division. So not here tonight, but a key contributor is another PE, Neil. Neil, okay. We're also have a few other great people here tonight. One of those is our partner from New York City DEP, Vinny Giorgio. He's going to provide the capital funding for this. Thank you so much, Vinny. Couldn't have it done without you. Okay. Also, Millie McGraw, I saw her earlier from Westchester County Planning. With her help, Westchester County actually helped us get funds for the map plan and report. And she's been a great help and an advocate for improving septic systems around Westchester County. Keeping us on track really is our council. Judge Siebert from King Bean, he is here tonight. From the town of Lewisboro, we have Terry Wolf, chief of staff. I didn't know that Kevin Kelly, our building inspector, would be here. I see Dan Welsh, one a councilman in the back. And I want to thank Sean Johansson for doing the IT setup. And then Karen Conti is here, and she and I didn't see Amy. Oh, Amy is here. Good. She and Amy Hodges are the feet in the ground around Lake Kitchawan, although maybe that's the feet on the puddle and the lake around Lake Kitchawan. But and Sue Enos, who you might have seen at this sign-in table, is also running the Lewisboro Lakes Coalition. So this has been the work of a lot of people to get us this far. This is another great, it's a great step that we've been waiting for. So with that, I should say, as I've mentioned, we are recording tonight. And so if you're shy about asking questions, we're gonna have, this is allows us to be heard on Zoom. And I'm gonna ask people to come up to the mic if possible, so that the Zoom people can hear you ask your question when we get to that. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Tia. Thank you so much.
Hi, can you all hear me? Okay, great. Thank you so much, Janet. So I'm happy to be here to talk a little bit to you guys about the Kitchawan septic district that we're proposing. There we go. So first of all, I'm going to talk a little bit about the background and how we got here, and Janet did a pretty good job of already filling you in on how we got to where we are. I'm going to talk a little bit about the proposed project and the proposed technology that we're proposing for septic systems. And then I'll talk a little bit about the overall process, and then we'll take questions from you guys. So as Janet mentioned, one of the issues that we've seen since around 2008, there have been studies, and I think you mentioned 2001, so it goes even further back in 2008. We began to see studies that are showing poor quality in Lake Kitchawan. This is mostly directly a result of phosphorus loading into the lake. And the study in 2008 showed that you're getting about 220 pounds a year of phosphorus, which is mostly a result of septic tanks loading to the system. So, we have here, I guess, I'll just explain quickly, like all that phosphorus in the system can create algae. And you get algal blooms, which are hazardous to wildlife in the lake. So that's what is kind of the whole impetus for this project. So again, in 2021, we got involved, we did another more detailed study on the water quality in the lake. And we came up with some recommendations associated with our report. And that was to form a septic district because there's a lot of septic systems in the system that are either at the end of their useful life or already pretty much at the end of life. In September 2025, we submitted our draft map plan report, and you can see kind of over here on this cool green and pink image, this is the septic district outlined here. So the pink parcels are your parcels that will be included, and the green are vegan. So going back to that study from 2021, it did show that there was an increase in phosphorus loading between 2008 and 2021, which sort of pushed the town to say, let's, really work on this issue. In order to kind of meet the target phosphorus loading into the lakes, we need to reduce that load by 26%. In addition to that, not only is the phosphorus was it noticed to be an issue, but there were also samples that showed E. coli and fecal coliform getting into the lake, which is also directly related to failing septic systems. So as Janet mentioned, there's been a lot of people involved in this plan, this proposed project. We have it listed there. I don't need to read that to you guys. And we have been meeting quarterly with the county DOH to resolve the project and to kind of talk through what the expectations of this project would be with them, and get them on with this large sewer septic district that we're working with. So the last bullet here is this meeting with you all to get you on board with the project and to get you familiar with what is planned. So again, the proposed project, so this graphic is the same one over here. We have 133 parcels that will be included. And the idea is to take your existing septic system and your fields and replace them with a new technology that can address nutrient removal. And this project would be about $6.6 million. The funding is basically secured. We're waiting for, finalization of that, but we have DEP in agreement with the project. And so ultimately what would happen is the septic systems that would be provided by the town, by the septic district, would replace your existing septic systems, and then you would be assessed a fee every year of $600 for being part of the septic district. And that would be we pay about $10 a month on power for powering the septic systems, and I'll get to that later about why we need power. So basically you wouldn't have any maintenance issues that would be on you. It would be on the septic district, and it would be responsible for cleaning out your septic system, or any repairs or other issues to your septic system and fields. So you guys all have traditional septic tanks like me, so every couple of years you gotta get them pumped out. One of the biggest limitations with septic systems, as they are standard systems, is that they do not have the ability to remove nutrients, so nitrogen and phosphorus removal is very limited. Additionally, in this area, or you guys all know, you have really small lots, you have there are a lot of setback requirements when it comes to these, so you can't just put them right up against the property line. So it's challenging when you have a small lot with a steep grade, and then there's also a lot of rock in the area, so very challenging from a typical septic system installation. And then you have a lake there, so also not a lot of depth to groundwater. So these are all challenges that we see in the typical septic system. So what we're proposing is something it looks like a septic system. It's called the FujiClean CRX. It's basically a septic system, but it has separate chambers, and it can remove nitrogen and phosphorus in addition to solids and other items that are removed in a typical septic tank. So you can see this is kind of what we're looking at here. this side of the screen, and then there's a cross section, so you can see cross section is basically very similar to what you have on a typical septic system. As I mentioned earlier, there is a need for some electrical feed to this system because there's a small blower that sends air into the treatment chamber to aerate the flow and enhance nitrogen removal. And also you'll have leach fields. It's not shown on this graphic, we couldn't fit it, but you will have leach fields here as well. This is another this is what the unit looks like in a picture. Those 3 green lids are essentially what you would see from the surface, so most of the septic tank is below grade, just like your current septic tank. And so, you know, we anticipate with these, they can get about 70% nitrogen removal and about 90% phosphorus removal. And so, you know, typical, like I had said before, the typical septic tank does not really do much for phosphorus. So this is why we selected this technology, because it can remove the phosphorus from your waste. Again, so here's a picture at someone's home, so you can see what it looks like from the grade. And, you know, these are nice because there's not a lot of moving parts, so there's a small blower that sits above grade that's about the size of a football. And it's a fiberglass enclosure in this structure, instead of concrete. Sure, you mostly have concrete septic tank. And essentially, as I mentioned before, the district will, you know, be collecting a fee for annual service to the septic system. So much like if you were connected to sanitary sewer, you pay a fee. This is the same idea, but you'll have, you know, the septic tank on your property. And basically the town will pump it and it will perform maintenance. And you won't have to worry about the maintenance of your tank. So, idea. This is just a summary of what we're going for here. So again, about $6.6 million is the proposed project cost. And there are about 133 properties included. So next step, so we completed the map planning report, which is the first step in forming the septic district. Tonight, we're here to tell you all about this because there has to be a vote, and the public needs to vote to accept the sewer district. So that would be something that needs to happen in this spring is when it's anticipated. And then we will go into design and permitting after we have an approved septic district. And then construction, hopefully the next 2 years. Everybody looks really excited. Okay, that is about it. If you have questions, I guess, Janet, anything I missed that you want me to say? Okay. Any questions?
You guys are gonna pay for it, right? The town's gonna pay for the
The
installation
town is getting grant funding
for the whole pit.
for the entire.
You just get some up and do it with the microphone, so it's so much easier for everyone. So I'm gonna be one thing on that, just for, yeah.
Sure, I'll come on.
Okay. Don't ask me, you can keep on with it.
So y'all gonna pay for it, get moved?
So the entire project is to be funded on grant funding.
So that means I live in a house. You're gonna pay for the system. And who pays for maintenance on it?
So you will, that is what the $600 a year septic fee will be for.
Okay, and what about my existing system? I can just abandon it and leave it at me?
That will be removed as part of the project.
Oh. Okay, that's a plus, that's a big plus. Okay, so I can put like my garden over my septic.
As long as you leave it a little bit. Or you mean your current septic system? Yeah.
Yeah, current,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's gonna be removed.
Yeah.
Repaired.
It may be put back in, we may put this system back in place in the same location as your existing septic tank.
True that.
Will depend on the design.
Okay.
We don't have an answer for that specifically right now, but we will work with you on that.
Okay. I like that. And the other question I might have is, as this needs electricity to run.
Yes.
We live in an area where our system goes down electrically. Right now, time, what's the, like, if system is down for 3 days, is that gonna be an issue?
Yeah, so there's some storage capacity within the septic system itself.
Okay.
The power that's needed is for the advanced treatment
Yes.
part of it, so it will still provide baseline level of treatment. The town will also, you know, they can work with the septic district folks to figure that out. I mean, there's other options of having things pumped out, there's options.
I'm thinking more like power goes down 3 days. I'm not gonna have to do that. I need things.
I mean, other than you're gonna be annoyed that your power's out, right?
Yeah, no, it's like, you know,
Not with
I
the septic system.
can't get my water, so it's
Right.
not an issue.
It should be.
Nothing, so, yeah, but it's fine, make sure everyone knows it, like, that's a non.
Yes, right. It refers to what you have today, it's in what.
Okay, well, refer, yeah, it refers essentially to what's housed now, so.
Septic system without sterile.
It's a septic system on steroids.
Yeah.
That is a good description. I don't wanna offend anyone, but yeah. So. Okay. Just come on to
I have two questions. One is about the map. My house is occupying 7 lots,
Okay,
of which the map designates a couple of my lots as vacant. So what's the process to that?
is your main house on a pink lot?
Yes,
Okay, then you're good.
no, but it's also on the green one.
Yeah, there's gonna be one septic system provided to the pink lot, so you'll be good. We're not gonna provide separate septic systems to each lot.
My house is on both, it's on.
Yeah, that's okay, as long as we have one, we'll have to modify that to maybe like look at the actual survey data. We haven't done that, this is based off of the data, and so some of the homes, to your point, that we had noticed there were disparities out that have. As long as we have your house accounted for on one of those, you're good.
Okay.
We'll edit that when we get into the details of the design, so we'll have to edit that when we get to this. It's supposed to be design, you're covered under this.
All right, well, homeowners have an opportunity to make sure the edits are correct.
That is a good question. In the past, we've done this out here. We've had, you know, during the design process, we have the ability for homeowners to come and look at the design and let us know like, hey, don't put that right there. That's where I very lucky, you know, like whatever that might be. So we will have that process, but it'll be down the road.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Right, so these systems are rated for 450 gallons per day. All right, so that, depending on the plumbing you have in your home currently, that can be up to 4 bedrooms that it can handle, that's right. All right, so if you wanted to add a bedroom to your home, then that'd be, you know, so you go through the building process.
I guess I'll leave this with you guys. So yeah, that's a kind of building question.
Okay, I'm gonna try this. I don't know that we have a firm answer, but my understanding is that the funding for this comes basically from New York City. DEP, came from DEC to DEP to us. And they do not want, they want to clean up what's there. They don't want to see a lot more bedrooms going in. So, I think it's gonna be, examined. It's possible it would happen, but I think it has to be examined on a 1-by-1 basis. I would not count on it as a reason, you know, to vote in favor of this. I think, my understanding is that when this has been done in the past, it has been to improve the treatment of what's there, not to add more stuff that has to get treated.
Okay.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. You might not like the answer, but there you go. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. I just have a question about voting. Is it a majority or everybody really has to use it? How does it vote in this sport? Okay, it's not, does not have to be a majority, although we would love to see as many people in favor. But I'm not quite sure it's whether it's 51% or 50.01%. I don't know exactly. It doesn't have. It does not have to be unanimous.
Doesn't know.
That would be scary.
Yeah.
Oh, then we won't help you.
Back to the construction of the system, so the connection is like the app from the septic system to the house. That part of the project,
So we would look to reuse your existing connection as much as possible, and
but if it
depending on
replacement,
we're gonna replace it only to where we need to replace it to connect. So if it needs a full replacement, no, if it just needs like us to jog it over because we're putting the septic system in a different location, and yes. So it'll be a case by case. And we can look at that during the detailed design as well.
it could be that those three systems are a whole, that it's discovered.
That's correct.
That,
Levels like during construction.
yeah, then the connecting, yeah, might be replaced and that could be.
We haven't worked out those details yet, but that was, yeah.
So, you know, if you're ready. No, just. Yeah.
Yeah, but he, how we work out very soon.
So. Just curious, you.
Can't hear you.
How high will how high will they be higher than the tank for people?
Well, likely your existing tank cap is fully covered, right? So these do stick out a little bit, and they tell us that we can put some light landscaping over it, but the town probably wants to be open so that they can, that's what they need to do, so sticks out, I don't know, look like, I don't know, 6 inches or so is what. We do have a picture.
Yeah, I thought.
Yeah.
I thought.
Yeah, this picture, and this pretty much shows what it would look like, you know, there, it does stick up.
I know the dimension of how. You can go online, you can go online, put the old.
Yeah, you can go over, like, yeah, and I was talking about 20 feet long or
Or
something.
the previous one. That's 8 feet from. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a fairly sizable thing. I mean, it's big. I've seen one above ground. I didn't get close to this. I've seen one above the ground and it's, I had to climb up a little ladder to look in. The other thing I would say is if you ever, on your existing septic tank, some of the haulers like you to put an access thing on it. It's very much like that. It's basically an access to get to the container.
They need long.
It's about the same size as your existing septic tanks, so like lengthwise, would be about any dimensions.
Will the need for the change? Model of our truck.
It will be. Okay.
Our homes are 100 years old.
we've never seen our septic field, we have no idea what our septic system. We have no idea what they're doing. My pipes are cast iron, and they're crumbling, and they were put in 1948. So there's that, and I would imagine that many of us have the same thing. So it's not just like one or two homes, it's gonna be.
Yeah.
The majority is good, and also, you're gonna attach electricity from the system, underground, and then it's somehow gonna meet our boxes inside the house. Like, how are you gonna hook up to our,
Yeah, so we will run some power from your existing house in your home. The idea is that the small blower would sit, next to your house, so you wouldn't be like routing a lot of electrical very far. That would not be ideal, but the idea would be to connect your existing electrical house.
so 20 feet, 30 feet, depending on where.
Yeah, it would depend on each home, and we can get into
That's
that.
really huge, too. I just,
Yes, we would be doing that.
Okay, and, I would ask a lot of questions, and I'm not gonna ask all of them, but we have a number of people who don't have septic systems, for whatever reason at all. Some people have pits,
So like cesspool.
some people have driveway.
Oh, that's okay, yeah, we're doing the same thing, whether you have a cesspool, a pit, septic tank. Still have something there, so. The difference is those cesspools are, instead of them being a box, they're just a big manhole circle. They're very similar to, that was the old style that they used to do in the 60s.
Oh, some of these were built in the 20s and 30s. and 40s.
Okay, well, even
Well, that's not something like that. Last two, three. Okay, and, I was like, by many homeowners. If getting to the current septic systems is very difficult. Like, there's stone walls, at our house, there's like, it's all surrounded by trees. And we're like a 20-foot drop, so. How is that, all that gonna work? Cutting down trees, repairing properties after the trucks come in.
that's gonna be the part that I get to do and work on, and that's gonna be a lot of fun for me. But we will be looking at all of those issues, self-design. We'll be working with residents on those things, we will be repairing your property back to its current state. That is the goal of the project. And we wouldn't leave things just out there, not repaired, that's not things here.
Okay, I'm sure that we all appreciate that, because.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that wall that you got.
There's our neighbor's wall, and, well, we have a wall, and, we have, and, okay. And I think that's about it. But, and if there's more questions that everybody has, like really practical ones. Now's the time. Yeah, hi, I have a question because I already have this. I was part of a community sort of grant that was done a couple of years ago. It was installed in 2019. It's right in front, so I know that there's a couple of the association that haven't. Do we have to go and then get this again?
I'm not sure 100% what you have, this is a different model, and my understanding is the Westchester County, not many of this model, so you have to look and see, you have the.
Mine was approved by New York State, the Westchester County. So they came and did this August County show in front of my house, because my house is in front of the lake. So that's why they did it. So I know that that was approved. And, so I'm saying that I want to do one. And she said,
Well, there's two different models that are right now, so we have to look to see which one to have, because we would like everyone to have this advanced option that. So there may be some modifications that we can make to your tank instead of releasing it, but we have to look into that on the detail. Right now, the project is moving to the development management, and then we're placing everyone's. Or if you have already. you know,
Yeah, it's great.
remodeled,
It's absolutely great. I have no problem. It's just more a question of saving time and effort to the people who really need it. That's what I just.
Yeah, no,
You know,
no,
it
that's
sounds like
great.
there's a couple of us. Okay, thanks.
So my question is kind of related to the power question for the fan. Now, say you have a full panel, are upgraded panel costs and upgraded electricity costs coming on the homeowner? How does that work? Do you need, does it need its own breakout?
So we're assuming right now, for the purposes of this evaluation, we're just assuming that everyone's panel has a spare breaker that you can disconnect to. If that is not the case, we will have to try to work through that during the details. But we don't anticipate that being based on the one, so, you know, that's something that we would work out and we can work with them on.
110 volts, right?
That's the answer to the section.
A couple questions. You said there was a setback, what is the setback from the road?
Oh, boy, what is the setback for the septic, for septic tanks? I'm not 100% sure off the top of my head what that number is.
And it probably just depends on the size of the lot.
Yeah, that's the county,
Oh, setback from the road.
it's from any lot line, so front yard, back yard, side yard, all have setbacks and it has to do with, yeah, I can find out, I'll get back to you, it's a Westchester County DOH rule. I just don't recall.
Also, what is the size of the tanks?
Each chamber, I don't have to get back to you on that too, but I don't have that on the wrong.
Now, I was told that if you 16-foot steps. Is good.
Or the whole tank, it's like, you mean that depth of the excavation?
Yeah.
That may be, it's not that deep, but it depends on.
Catch it.
Yeah, it's.
Very
I
shallow.
find her on, and then, you know, that would be something that we would also use when during the design process, but we will try to minimize the excavation necessary.
You're responsible for making the old tank, all the pipes and all that.
Correct, that would be possible.
And you ready to.
Yes, for restoration is included in the project.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sure, so gotta get back there in little size, that sign, setbacks. I have two, maybe dumb questions, I don't know. If this passes, will we be required to comply with having our property dug up and having our septic system, which may work just fine, but
Yeah, so the intent is that all the properties included here will be part of the project, and so if you vote for the district, they'll have one in the district. And so turns to be a project.
The other question is. How does phosphorus come from septic? Because we're not even allowed to have it in our soap set, so. Where's it coming from?
Normally, it does come from a lot of cleaning products and soaps and other items that you wash in the laundry, there's all kinds of chemicals in clothing. All these farm soap, byproducts, there's a lot of waste.
It's part of our bodily waste.
Yes, yeah. Well, yeah, there's lots of sources of.
Well, I didn't know that, and why I'm asking.
Your question.
Okay, well, thank you. So. Millie found says that the footprint is somewhere about. 8 foot. By 4'8", so it's an 8 foot by 4'8".
8 by 4 foot.
And then a height of, I'm gonna say maybe 2 inches, so. You know, say 7 feet tall.
7 feet height. Give or take.
Give or take.
It's different, those are approximate.
But that's just a very good hand.
That's just a very quick.
Actually, it's in the NPR. Yeah, yeah.
One question about the payments after the big annual payments. Say the project gets approved and they start work, and when will the billing be for those annual payments be?
Yeah, basically when the project is complete, when your installation will be, complete, that's when town plans to start paying, start charging, so. It wouldn't be like in advance that, just like one thing, obviously, starting with this. Bunch of things.
So one other question, so, if I have substandard, house, at 100 amp service maxed out. And the system comes in, I need to upgrade my electrical system, with 100 amp, who pays for that?
Well, we have to kind of do some investigation and determine that whether or not that is an issue, and I think that's going to work out very hard. So, I don't wanna.
No, but I understood,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day,